All right, I'm Don Cage, and I am going to talk about rigging up your bicycle for using your ham radio while you're biking, and also APRS. Do we have bikers in the audience? Got one? Okay, great.
Occasionally.
Okay, good. I grew up in the St. Louis area, and we just lived on our bikes growing up, and went to University of Missouri, and then moved out here, and I have been biking the county roads of Boulder County ever since. And then in 2021, I was not in the ham radio until COVID hit, and my consulting engineering job sort of disappeared. So I decided to use that extra time to get the ham radio license. So in 21, I went and studied up and got all 3 levels of my ham radio license. And I wanted to incorporate that on my bike, and so I did, and I would go over my successes and failures. I'm claiming not to be an expert in anything, but I have experience, and so I'm going to share my experiences with you. So I'm going to first go over my goals, my failures, and where I really finally got the information to have this actually work really well. And I'm going to go over the hardware, the radio, the antenna, and then at the end I'm going to talk about APRS and how you set up your APRS so that you can track yourself, or in my case, my wife can track me. And that's actually come in handy a couple of times. So that's what I'm going to talk about. So first, my radio, I've got a Yaesu FT3D, and the 2 parameters that it has, which are required for this, are one is 2-channel. I guess that's not a requirement, but I do have 2 channels. And the APRS with a built-in GPS system. So that makes a really great setup for mounting on your bicycle. Secondly, and this is kind of important, the microphone speaker, that plugs into the side and clips on your antenna. This is really handy because it allows you to not have to mess with your radio. I'm going to talk about the coax cable, the mounting, and how I mounted the radio and the antenna, and all this is pretty important. So let me just start down in. All right, so my initial goal was just to use my ham radio while I'm biking. I see that, Steve, you just mentioned that Longmont wants us to maybe volunteer for some of their events. There's biking events, there's running events, there's even equestrian events. And so having a bike set up for ham radio and APRS is a handy thing to go with those events. My initial successes were pretty much 0 for a couple of reasons, hardware reasons and APRS reasons. So first of all, I tried just clipping my radio on my belt, and it turns out that is awful. It doesn't work at all. And I think I went on maybe some Elmer advice. I went on some of the tech nests for Elmer advice. And they said, no, you can't have your antenna right against your body because you're going to attenuate that signal. So I tried moving it around. I tried clipping it on the bike in various places, and I tried even getting a better antenna. Just didn't work very well. So I finally sat down to do some studying, and I'd like to give credit where credit's due. Let me go back one. I spent a lot of time on YouTube University. This guy, Michael, at what is he? KB9 VBR.
He's a good guy.
He is an expert on biking and APRS. So he's got a lot of videos out, and I've got links to them at the end of this presentation. So you can go watch his videos and really, really get a head start on setting your bicycle up, and also setting up your radio for APRS. Also, I don't remember this guy's name, but he's got one, also the same radio, the Yaesu FT3D, which is what I use. And he goes through every single of the 28 different parameters that you can set up under the APRS menu on that radio. So that helps a lot. So I learned a lot from those guys. And doing reading, I figured the best thing I could do was to get my antenna up high and behind me. I thought that was important. So as you can see over here, I've got it mounted behind me and up fairly high, so that it's about shoulder height when I'm riding and about 2 feet behind me. And once I did that and got my APRS set up correctly, I was hitting everything. So that worked out really well. I'm going to show you some other people's solutions to this as well, but that's what I came up with. So I'm hitting 90% on the APRS packets, getting to digipeaters 25, 30 miles away. So it works. So here's my setup. So here's my little FT3D radio. And what I did was I bought this cell phone holder to clamp onto the bike handlebars. This is a Lamicall, and I think it was like $17 on Amazon. And so I bought that, and then I took a piece of aluminum. I think it's 150 thick. And I basically cut it out to match the bottom half of my radio. And I used the 2 little holes up there that are meant for mounting onto the belt clip. I don't know if you can see those up here, and drilled and tapped those so that I could slide that in just as a cell phone. And that just works great. That clamp, this clamp screws in to whatever width your cell phone or your radio is, or your plate is, and then it over center clamps it in and locks it in very firmly. Now, a couple things about this. One is, it just so happened, I didn't really realize it until later, that the height of the radio above this clamp is a little bit important because you got to get to your buttons. And so the way this worked out on my radio is my battery pack is fairly thick on that radio. So it pushes it out of the way so the buttons are accessible on the side and above the cradle, if you will. And on the other side, the plugins, there's 4 plugins on the other side that are also above the cradle, so they're not in the way. Another thing is the coax connection here. This, when I first started off, I had a different coax arrangement that had a PL239 connector, and then I had to get an adapter for that to an SMA connector. Well, that puts about an ounce of metal up here. And on the washboard Boulder County roads, that is bad because it's going to be bouncing. And in fact, I'm going to talk about vibration a lot because it's bad in Boulder County, and well, it's probably everywhere, wherever there's washboard roads. And I tend to ride, most of my rides are on county roads, unpaved. So I'm out on the washboards all the time. So vibration's a big deal. In fact, this is very stiff. There's no damping in this arrangement. And so what I did was I took a piece of foam, construction foam, that white foam, and I cut it to wrap around underneath the radio, as you can see, and taped it in there to dampen, because otherwise this thing gets to vibrating on the washboard roads a lot. And so that, in combination with, don't put a lot of weight on there, don't use a PL239 connector. So that, and then the remote transmitter, microphone speaker. That is really, really handy so that you don't have to mess with your radio. You can see your radio, at least the way I've got it, but you don't have to mess with it, especially if you have gloves when you're riding, which I do. You try to turn the knobs up there and you just forget it. So I invested in that little thing, and it's wonderful. It really is. You can clip it on yourself, or you can clip it on your cables. I like to keep it on my cables. So that's about it for the radio. Any questions on that? Nope. Okay. So downstream from the radio, we've got the cable running back to the antenna. Now, what I did is I went on eBay and I bought this coil of cable, which was like 16 foot long, for $9. And it's got 2 SMA connectors on it. And so you've got 2 chances to get it right. And it took me 2 to get it right. So, you can plug one end into your radio and then feed it along. And the way I did it is I took like double sticky foam tape and cut off about an inch, and I rolled it around the coax cable and stuck it on the frame so that the cable wouldn't actually touch the frame, and then I used a little zip tie to keep that in place. So I've got the cable running along the frame to the back and then up my mast to the antenna. And so that worked out really well. I'm going to tell you what I did for mounting the antenna, but it's probably not going to help a lot because I've got a machine shop in my garage and not everybody does. So I'm going to also go over more store-bought solutions for this. So what I did was, again, I wanted to get that antenna up and behind me. So I machined these bars, as you can see, with 120 volts going through to clamp it onto the post, and then also to clamp this, which is a 3/4 inch aluminum U channel. So I clamped it right through there and ran it all the way up, and I made a little platform for an NMO style mount. So I think I had one. I had one from, I don't know, in my junk pile. So I used the NMO mount, which is normally for a roof mount. And underneath that is actually really nice because you can take the back off and the connection onto the center post is just a little solder cut. So you can undo the coax that it came with. And there's two sheet metal clamps that grip the shielding right inside of here. And so I used mine and I, peeled it back and got the shielding and then soldered the center connector into the little solder cup underneath this and then gripped the shielding in here with a little bit of extra tape because my diameter is smaller and I didn't want rain getting in there. And so that's my mount. And it had a couple of studs coming down, so I mounted it that way. So that's what I ended up with. But again, I'm going to go into this vibration problem. This is way too resonant. It vibrates like heck on Boulder County washboard roads. And I ended up actually snapping it off. I got about 15 drives out of this. And right there, where I had it bolted through there, it just snapped off. And fortunately, I was only about a quarter mile from home, so I was able to walk it home. So I redid it by just moving that inward so that I did not drill through it. I think drilling through it actually made a stress riser for it.
So you just clamped onto it?
I did. So I just moved the inboard a little bit, and I'm just clamped on really hard. I got a couple of 1/4-20s in here, and it's got a death grip on this. It hasn't moved. And it hasn't break, and I don't expect it to break. But the vibration is a big problem. And so I noticed that it would still vibrate a lot. So what I did was, and here's the technical part of the presentation. I created a hydrodynamic vibration damper. Okay.
Well, that's a fancy name.
That is. Well, so 10-ounce bottle, half filled with water. So the sloshing actually just kills the vibration right away. And I know it's not very elegant, it's not very pretty, but it works. It works. Now I was also thinking possibly like those noodles that kids use in the swimming pools that have a large outside diameter, maybe 4 inches and a 1-inch ID. I was thinking maybe, you got to have either friction or damping in some kind of slosh liquid or whatever. But maybe one of those noodles up in here might work. I haven't tried it.
How much experimentation did it take to figure out how much water?
No, again, I'm a nerd engineer. Okay, so I knew this would work, and I figured about half filled would be a good amount. But you can probably use sand. Is anything in there that will slosh and burn up energy? That's what you're looking for. Is something that will burn up energy. And so I couldn't actually see very well safely while I'm writing, but I realized I could see my shadow. And so I took a video of it. Let's see if I can. Yeah, I can. There we go. Watch this. Yeah, there we go. So I'm going down Vermilion, which is washboarding, but you can see it'll start to vibrate, but then it damps out really fast. I don't have it before because I didn't think it was going to break. So anyway, it seems to, and you can hear the sound. That's the APRS packet being transmitted. See, but it rides back there just really nice. So if you do something like this with a mast, you're going to have to do something on a vibrate. At least if you go on the roads that I do, county roads. So there you go. So that's my hydrodynamic vibration damper. All right, so here's more store-bought kind of approaches to this and other approaches that people have done. So Michael on the first slide, this is his rig. And so he's got a saddlebag mounted on the front, and he's got his radio mounted on the front. Now, I don't like that personally because you can't see the radio, for one thing. And let's see, he's got an SMA connector. It looks like he doesn't have a, well, I don't know. I'm not sure where the antenna wire goes. But he's got the microphone speaker combination on there, which is really good. Other people, as you can see, I don't know if you can see it well enough, but this guy put his on the front. So he made a little plate arrangement. I personally don't like that. I don't want to have that thing sticking out in front of me like that. But that's what he did.
Looks like an ice stabber.
I'm sorry?
Looks like an ice stabber.
Yeah.
Over the bar fence back. Yeah.
Most people do this. They'll get a back rack, which you can easily get off of eBay or Amazon, or that attaches either to the frame of the bicycle or to the post, or even here onto the seat itself. So this guy had one little plate and he adapted it for, looks like an NMO mount, but puts him right behind him. It's way lower than, so your body is in the way, and I don't know what that does for attenuation. But anyway, what I'd really like to do is take my field meter and set my bike out in the middle of my alfalfa field and walk around it and see if I can map out the energy pattern that's radiating out of there. I haven't done that yet. But you see most of these, they put a plate, some kind of an adapter plate on the back of on the back rack, and put an NMO mount. NMO mount looks like, yeah. So those are some of the ideas that are more store-bought. You don't have to do too much hand machining for that. And for the radios themselves, this is kind of how I started out, with the radio and a rubber duck antenna that came with the radio. But it doesn't work very well. For one thing, think about your radiation pattern. This antenna, depending on the tilt here, is pointed right down the road in front of you. And so the radiation pattern is going out that way. Well, that's usually not what you want, at least I don't think so. And it's difficult to work with in this condition. So I personally like mounting it the way I did. All right, and so here's some store-bought items that you can use. So, quick search on Amazon. Here's the racks that you can buy, and these are like $20 to $30, attaching to the post or the frame or both, and you can adapt from there. And the cradles for phones, again, anywhere from $6 to $30 in that group there.
That silicone went up there. The silicone went up there might provide some damping also.
Oh, hadn't thought about that. Yeah. Instead of having to put foam in there. Yeah. So vibration's a big deal in Boulder County especially. So it's easy to get going, for like $20, $30 for the racks and $10, $20, $30 for a cradle.
Hey, Don?
Yes, sir.
Did you ever try one of those racks with like a mag mount?
Magnet mount for what?
For the antenna? Something like that with a mag mount? Did you ever with that by any chance? Or?
No. Where would I put it? There's nothing magnetic on here.
Well, no, the rack itself.
Oh, the rack.
Yeah.
Aluminum.
No, I haven't tried that. I have not tried that.
But they are ferrous most of the times.
I don't have one of these racks.
Okay.
So again, I've got a machine shop. So my first thought is, what have I got out there that I can use?
Yeah, probably. Okay.
This thing, can't remember his name, Jim, Lido Radio. He makes a lot of, more for vehicles, but I think he has some white stuff on there that's specific for radios, not phones. It's Lido radio,
All right.
and he's got some. I have his mount in the truck. I was thinking he made something for an HT that you could clamp on a handlebar, but I'm not positive.
Yeah, and like everything else in ham radio, this is like an entire world.
Yeah.
It's in a world. I mean, if you want to start doing searches on mounting your ham radio to a bicycle, you're going to be there for days. So I'm just telling you what I did and giving you some insight into alternates to what I did. Okay, any questions about the mounting of the radio? Yes, sir.
Well, not mounting the radio, but it looks like that's an old-fashioned bike that you have to pedal. In your research, have you come across anyone that has electric bikes, and does that cause RFI for the radios? Or
No, it's a good question, though. Yeah, I could see where you could get some noise from the motor, couldn't you?
perhaps?
So I don't know.
Like a bike, yeah.
We'll have to make Chuck do an experiment. He's got an electric bike.
Do you? Yeah.
Not that my HT work, slap it on and see what it does.
You ever take your ham radio with you?
The one time I did take it with me, the wife looked at me and I had to put it away. Well, you're paying attention to me, you're not gonna be on the game video.
Well, I can tell you that my wife has helped me several times use tracking. So she would track my APRS signal. And I had a nail about that long go through my tire one day, about 5 miles from home. And I said, well, look on the APRS and you can find them and just come and pick me up, please. So
We
it might
might do
be up.
together, of course, so she likes to ride too, she's got one as well, so.
Yeah, and so I don't mind her tracking me, and it's been handy a couple of times. All right.
Cause you live out where you don't have good cell coverage.
No, we have pretty good cell coverage, and where I normally ride, I'm kind of up on a hill. I've got line of sight to the entire front range, all the way from Pikes Peak to
Yeah, my wife tracked me on my iPhone, using Find My Friend.
Okay. Well, I'm doing this just for fun.
Yeah.
And to learn the system to see if I can make even more use out of the APRS, which you can. Like anything else, it's a whole world. And I'll go into some of that.
Well, but that's why I was interested in having you come tonight, because APRS has some application of these great things.
Yeah, they do. And so people have tried to use that for setting up, where are you in the route? And so you can map out exactly where everybody is. Yes, sir.
I used to fly, but I had APRS in my aircraft. Interestingly enough, I got a couple of QSL cards.
Really?
Wow, that's pretty interesting. I got them in the mail. I go, what's this? Somebody heard me on APRS when I was in my airplane and sent me the QSL card.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'll go into a little bit how you set up the radio for APRS. And yes, airplanes is one.
You haven't gotten any QSL cards from this?
No. No, I ride from my house, which is north and east of Longmont, to I just go straight north of Ford, further based on around Ish Lake and up in that area. And usually when I get close to Berthoud, I'll stop for a radio check. It'll be about 20, 25, 30 miles away from the repeaters above Horsetooth and up on Buckhorn. And I can hit it. Now, I can hit them with the analog better than I can hit them with the digital. Because digital, it's either on or off, so it'll be there or it won't. Whereas analog, might be scratchy, but the human mind can demodulate that signal. I can hear the human voice even under the scratch. So anyway, here's my final rig. Now here's my question to the antenna experts. Is there any antenna experts in the room?
We'll see.
What did I create? And I think, maybe it was Brian. I talked to some during TechNets and Elmer's about this arrangement, and someone suggested that maybe I accidentally created a dipole by having this 24-inch aluminum mast underneath my 24-inch antenna on top of that. Because the whole frame is connected to the shield. The shield connects in that NMO mount right there. And that connects to the whole frame. And the antenna is obviously on the center connector. But I'm just wondering, and it took a special lens to capture the electromagnetic waves. I'm just wondering if I did, because I don't know enough about antennas to know exactly what the radiation pattern would look like coming out of there, but it works. You know, I can hit it 30 miles on my little 5-watt T3D.
So it probably is.
A dipole?
Yeah, because some people take just a little piece of wire between the antenna and the radio, like a little pigtail they call it, and that seems to increase to kind of like a ground plane type thing.
Yeah, but I don't know if it's using his whole mast and then maybe his whole bike.
Maybe the whole bike,
So what does the radiation pattern actually look like?
Some sort of off-center bit.
I don't know.
I wonder if you put dirt in that water bottle, then you have, a better break from
You're saying a finder.
Yeah.
Maybe wine. Let's St. Bernard's carry in those.
Whiskey.
Whiskey? Okay, I'll try that.
Then you won't have any left in the trial.
There you go.
Yeah, so when you break it down, you've got something to commiserate with.
Okay, so there's my final setup. All right, so that's the hardware part of everything. Anybody got any questions on the hardware part? Then I'm going to start talking about the APRS after.
Do you ever change your water or you leave it? Are you worried about it? Like,
I changed this water down here.
so,
But I haven't changed that one.
and it's been on for over a year, or how long have you had so far?
Probably 6 months.
I'm just curious if it sweats and potentially could build up.
I haven't had any problem with it other than it falling off. Which, by the way, I've had trouble with the antenna. I noticed that when I get back from a ride, this used to be loose. In fact, it's loose right now. And I didn't give it much thought until one day I got back and my antenna was not there. And so I went to the APRS website and I tracked down the last transmission, and it was right where I got off of the main road onto the ditch road. Yeah, I'm on the Highland ditch, and I have water rights in the Highland ditch, so I feel like I can use the road. So anyway, I'm coming down. So I went back. I backtracked all the way, and sure enough, just about a couple hundred yards off the main road, there's my antenna laying right in the middle of the road.
Do you have a rubber spacer though, that you screw your antenna down on?
I do now.
Okay.
And I've got a piece of tape. So yeah, if you look at that, I put an O-ring. I found an O-ring that size to go underneath there to give me something to kind of latch down onto, and I put a piece of electrical tape around it just to make sure it doesn't unscrew anymore. So that's my hardware.
Damper, that's a friction damper.
I'm sorry?
That's not a hydro damper, it's a friction damper.
That one, yeah, those are. Yes, those are. Yeah. And if you come up with better ideas for damping, let me know. It's.
You got a machine shop, put a shock on it. You've got one on your back wheel.
But where? Where do I damping? It's because here's the vibration mode, like this. Right? And so you'd have to have something out here because you want to attach it in the direction that it's moving, right? There's nothing to attach to. So either this or maybe one of those noodles so that it would have a lot of friction bumping up against the inside diameter of the noodle.
I thought the noodle's gonna go right with it.
It probably will. It might do that, yeah. So anyway, it worked. I could make it look better, maybe. All right, so there's the hardware. Now I'm going to talk about APRS. Anybody use APRS? Oh, gosh. Okay, great. So you probably already know all this then. So it's automatic packet reporting system. Some people call it position because that's what it's used for most likely. And it was developed by Bob Bruninga in 2002, apparently, for the Navy, tracking Navy ships. And you can put a lot of information on there, coordinates, speed, direction, time, altitude, temperature, pressure, whatever you want to put, and text messages. Anybody use it for text messages? Really?
playing with it a little.
Okay, because you're ahead of me then, because I haven't tried doing that. So anyway,
It's changed though.
it's changed.
Yeah, they had some issues with the text messages, so they're now a different system that they go through. And it's a different way of doing it. And it's, I think it's kind of restricted now too.
Okay.
They had some issues.
Okay, so you probably already know, most of you, these packets are sent to digipeaters and they are re-repeated from the digipeater again a finite number of times so that it doesn't just blow up and go all over the whole nation. So they have a decrement counting system. So they have a path built into the packet with a number on it, and which usually, the defaults anyway, is a number 2. And so it goes to the first repeater, and the first repeater says, okay, well, that's got a number 2 on the path. So I'm going to repeat it, send it out, but I'm going to decrement that number by 1. So the next one sees the path, it's not X like that, it's Y, the word Y with the number 1 on it. And it says, okay, that's got a number 1 on it, I can repeat that, but I'm going to decrement that to a 0 or nothing at all, just the word Y. So the next repeater says, no, we're not going to repeat it anymore. So it'll go 2 or 3 times and then stop. So that will give you a couple state area that it will repeat over in theory. So anyway, the packets are also received by iGates, which can transfer the information to the internet and to programs like, or websites like this one, the APRS.fi, where you can go and track yourself or other people. So this is me sitting in my driveway. That's my little bicycle right there, and that's my call sign. And it looks like that one packet of information made it all the way up to the whoops 15 repeater up above Horsetooth Reservoir. From sitting in my driveway, which is pretty good, pretty good. So this is the main website that you go to, and if I had ridden the bike, in fact, I think I've got a slide of that, you'd see my track going all over. So we can pull this out. Actually, I got here to the meeting an hour early so that I could ride around the Boulder County Fairgrounds and make a track. So after this, we'll try pulling up the APRS FI website and see if we can see another track that I made before the meeting. All right. So yeah, so this is the main website. So you would put your call sign in here that you want to track and how long ago it was. And then you can also hit this like info button here and go look at all the information that came down with your packets. Okay. Yeah, here's one for my house. So here's my house along the Highland Ditch. And I would start off, and there's my little bicycle symbol, my call sign. And so I start off and I notice that I have missing packets. Well, there's a big hill in the way for one thing. And so it's not following the road exactly because I got one here and I got one here and nothing in between. So I'm not hitting all my packets in this area because of a big hill up in this area. So I got space here and I'll miss one there, missed one there. So I went up and then I went over on Wasatch up to County Line Road. And you don't want to ride on County Line Road unless you want to be killed. So I turned around and came back. And then I came back along the Highland Ditch access road back to my house here.
Are you using smart beaconing on that?
Say again?
Are you using smart beaconing or just periodic?
I use periodic, but I'm going to go into that in a minute. If you want to go look at the information that the packets have, you can download it in different formats. I am aware that some people have written programs to take that information and allow you to plot, 3D images of where you were and when and how fast you were going. They're not readily available, but if you search enough, you can find them. Okay, so you can see what kind of information you get. You got on this particular one, you got your call sign and your latitude, longitude, your course, speed, direction, all that kind of stuff.
So Don, what did you say those programs that you just mentioned do?
What I saw was a professor back east had one of his students write one in MATLAB. They're familiar with MATLAB. And he was running a balloon. And so he wanted altitude and speed and direction of his balloon traveling around. And so his students wrote a program in MATLAB format to take that information and convert it so that you could map it, basically. So they're out there. They're not readily findable though.
I think KM4ACK has a lot of information on stuff like that.
Okay.
Because he has a ton of APRS stuff. He uses Linux a lot, but he has some other stuff on there too.
Space Science will have some stuff on the website as well. They use APRS for tracking their works.
Yeah, that's a weird thing to me that people can actually just let balloons loose in the atmosphere and it's okay with everybody.
Oh, they only go to 100,000 feet.
Check this for SAA.
A couple of them go around the globe a couple of times before they come down.
Yeah.
What's your call sign?
Me?
Yeah.
W0 DPC, Whiskey Zero Delta Papa Charlie.
Oh, Chinese have done that.
Sorry.
Chinese let their balloons go.
Yeah, but EOSS recovers their data. It doesn't.
I mean, actually,
I haven't shot it out on site personally. That's just me.
Chinese balloon.
Okay. So there's tons of information in these packets. If you want to go look for them, then there they are. All right. So setting up the APRS. A lot of you have already done this. In my radio, there's like 28 different menu items underneath the APRS drop-down list. But there's only like 7 or 8 really to get you going into my radio. It came with defaults that help a lot. But I'm just going to go through the first 7 or 8 to get you going. Number 1, you're going to put in your call sign. And what they normally do is they use your regular call sign with a dash number. And the number has to do with what kind of an entity you are. If you're a handy terminal, which might be on a bike or pedestrian, it's a -7. If you're in your truck, it's a -9. If it could be a meteorological, it could be a weather station or whatever. So that number shows up and identifies you as what kind of entity you are.
What's the -N? I see you got -70 and -N on yours.
I have -N?
On the APRS.FI app, you do.
Not sure why.
Looks like it's going through a hotspot.
Did your computer? I don't know.
Okay.
Okay. There's a -9, that's my pickup truck. Because I've got an FTM 400. I've got that very radio in my truck.
That's what I got too.
Okay, so you put in your secondary ID with a dash number, depending on what kind of an entity, and you pick an icon, what are you? You're a person, you're a bike, you're an airplane, you're a car, you're a truck, whatever. And the only purpose is it shows up on the map, and on someone receiving it on their display, just gives you an idea of what kind of an entity they are. 5, the transmission frequency. In North America, there's only one frequency. It's 144.390. And that's it. In other countries, it's different, but it's nationwide for us, 144.390. Now, your question about transmission rates. There's 3 in my radio. There's a manual. You can hit a button and just make one-shot transmission. 2, you can have an automatic transmission set every so many seconds or minutes. I had mine set to 30 seconds. But it could go up to once every 60 minutes in that category. And then the smart beaconing, I played around with it a little bit, but it's kind of weird for me. Basically, it looks at your speed and decides how often it should transmit based on 3 categories. So there's a low, medium, and high speed. So if you're pedestrian or biking, you set it on low. Well, it takes into account things like, did you stop? Okay, if you stopped at a corner, let's send it back. If you turn your direction, let's send another packet. And so it takes those things into account and how fast you're going. So it's supposed to be smart, but I'm always leery of things that say smart, so.
I think it works pretty well. I use it on my 400.
Do you?
Yeah. I have a FT5D, but I haven't really set it off on there yet. I haven't had it for too long. So.
Yeah, I bought mine a while back. I bought 3 of them, thinking, oh, I have one for me, one for my wife, and one for one of my kids. Didn't work out. All right. So the delay time, number 7, delay time. This is kind of important. You know, whenever you check onto a net, the net controller will often say, push the button, wait 1 second, and then before you start talking. Well, I think the same rule applies here. Is you don't want to have that the digipeater or regular, what's the other kind? iGate repeater miss your transmission. I don't think there's no error checking on this, and so it's got to go. So you want to put a delay in there. I think mine's set up for half a second, so I've got 500 milliseconds in there, and that seems to work. Most of my packets make it to their destination. And the path, now fortunately on my radio, it's got defaults, which seem to work pretty well. But this is the thing I was telling you about. The path, there's a lot of things you can change in that. You can tell it which repeaters to go to. You can tell it how many times it should repeat and other things. So this is kind of a complicated thing. For more information, I would refer you to the links that I have at the end of this that go into deep explanation as to how you set up the path if you want to change it. And like I said, my radio has 28 settings. Fortunately, it came with a lot of defaults that seem to work pretty well.
Don, one comment on this. Baofeng has started to release some radios that have APRS. Some of the radios you got to be very careful. They haven't set the frequency at 144.390. It actually uses whatever VFO is on. So make sure if you do get a radio like that, it's on the proper frequency. Otherwise, your repeater coordinator will be giving you a call and ripping you a new one.
Actually, the same thing applies even to like the 400. If you don't have the second VFO set to APRS, it'll transmit on whatever frequency you have on
So
there.
you got to be very careful. You're transmitting on the right frequency because
A number of
learn from
people
experience.
have done that. Chuck.
Yeah, Chuck has transmitted over the repeaters, APRS, by mistake.
The other thing is some Baofengs might, from what I've seen, do APRS and some do their own internal.
Data, yeah, there's some newer
Am
ones.
I within range of you? And it's not APRS compatible.
It's basically just sending GPS coordinates is all doing from radio to radio.
So caveat emptor.
Okay, and some of the other things you can use it for, like receiving beacons. This is from an FTM 400 radio, but it tells you where it is, speed, direction, altitude, lots of information. This is a weather channel, so it's got temperature, rain information, wind, speed, direction, blah, blah, blah. So there's just all kinds. This is, like I said, it's a world unto itself. And here is, another thing you can do is you can track yourself and find your way back. So let's say you're doing elk hunting and you want to set up a base camp someplace, and then you want to go out on your hiking or horseback or whatever, and you want to find your way back. So you can set up your home location, your camp location, as a fixed location, and then find your way back to it. It'll tell you the direction and distance to that target. So,
But you still have to be within range of the digipeater.
yes, you do. Right.
There's something the digipeters aren't always missing.
Right.
Another cool thing you can do is you can put in on your transmission, you can put in a frequency that you're monitoring on your other VFO. So let's say I'm going across country and I'm monitoring 5.2. You send it out on the APRS and you're close to somebody and they get the packet. It'll tell them that you're monitoring this channel and they can switch over and talk to you.
There you go. So on the texting, yeah, I haven't played with the texting on this at all. Okay, so here's links, and with a PDF, I think the links will work on a PDF file. So if I give you the PDF file, if you want to put it on the website, the links should work. So there's a bunch of links, and also there is actually an APRS net on Sunday nights on the Colorado Repeater Association CRA. Here's the frequencies: 147.225, 140 in Boulder, 145.460. 7 p.m. on Sunday evening, you can get the experts on the line and talk about APRS.
So one thing to keep in mind also, like, that especially if you go to like Northeast Colorado,
Yes.
on Highway 76, pretty much you're gonna drop out because there's not a digipeater out there until you get about the middle of Nebraska.
Yeah, I was wondering about that because I actually set up a trip. My wife is active in some organization, and they were having a meeting out in Holyoke. And so I set up my truck radio, my FTM 400. I hardly got any connections at all once I got out there to Fort Morgan and beyond. It's like nothing.
You get about halfway through Nebraska. Because I've got a friend that drives out a lot of the times until he gets to like Lincoln. There's a big gap there.
There is a big gap. Okay, well, I'm glad to know that. So it wasn't my radio, it was the fact that there's no digipeaters out there.
But if you take the Amtrak to Salt Lake City, there's quite a few through the mountains that will pick you up because I did that on the Amtrak one time.
You did?
Yeah.
And you had APRS?
And the APRS running, just stuck it next to the window in the dining car and
Really?
watched myself. It's pretty neat.
Wow. Okay, so that's my presentation. Now, I did get here an hour early and I rode around the fairgrounds and up and down the trail a little bit. So I'm wondering if we could pull up APRS.fi and see if we can find it.
Got it pulled up on my phone.
Oh, you got it? Did I trace okay?
Yeah.
Want to mention, I've seen something on Facebook, I haven't ever joined up to it, but I believe that APRS net is a voice net, but there's also an APRS net held over APRS where you can check into it and send messages. The website for that is aprsph.net. I have no idea what PH stands for.
Okay.
Oh,
And about, I guess, and about the frequency there, I've seen them mention that you can do APRS on 30 meters. There's a frequency for that.
30 years.
Yeah, but it's different because obviously with HF, you're going to get a lot more propagation than you do with 2 meters.
Right.
I apologize, your call sign again.
W0 DPC
you heard that another zero?
-7.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
it's the wrong zero.
Whiskey 0 Delta Papa Charlie -7.
-7, okay.
-7. Okay.
There you
There it
are.
is. Zoom in.
There you are.
So there was where I went between 5:30 and 6:30 after I got here. So yeah, I would say I'm missing a lot of packets, actually. It doesn't look like there's enough. Looks like I lost, but this is kind of, I don't know. Are we in a valley here? A little bit.
A little bit. Especially when closer to Main Street and Third.
So yeah, I went north up to Rogers Grove and I got on the trail and I followed it out all the way past Maine, turned around and came back. So there you go.
You have more energy than anyone in our club.
Anybody on the Zoom call have any questions?
Any
That was
questions?
a really good presentation.
Mike? APRS, anything else?
Something you might be interested in. I always thought of doing this, and I haven't had a chance to plan it out, but I've always wanted to do it since I got involved with APRS, because airplanes do it all the time, is do the same thing airplanes do when tracking them, do some type of design or draw some kind of letters or things like that. Because if you go on something like Flight Radar 24 and FlightAware, some of the small planes will actually make designs as they track them.
Okay,
I'd like to do the same thing with APRS. I think it would be
Good.
really cool.
you're good.
So
Okay, that's all I got. Let's get questions.
maybe set up a couple of digipeters just to make sure that or somewhere in a field somewhere do our calls out or something.
If you want to play around with APRS, the big Club Go box has a Kenwood D710 in it, which does have APRS support on the radios. check that out and see APRS without having to buy anything.
But yeah, as I was saying earlier, a lot of the smaller radios are starting to build it into it.
You don't give us
APRS.
you could get separate values on just about any HT.
And of course, you gotta be careful because some of those are GMRS radios as well, which really doesn't do APRS. We're not supposed to. So you gotta be careful, make sure you're on the ham side and things like that, especially if you're transmitting. You can listen all that, you just can't transmit. So remember to follow the rules. Part 97 rules and things like that when it comes to that. Otherwise, you will lose your ticket.
And then if you've got there's phone apps as well, so if you want a beacon, something out there, 'cause I think you can wildcard the call sign rather than having to put the -7. I think you can wildcard it. So sometimes when I run out of Digipeater or iGates, I can beacon on the car.
The APRS Droid is app I use on Android. I don't know if there's a equivalent on platform.
There is.
Yeah, there is.
Okay.
Last time I transmitted, it looks like it was 1024. Little short distance.
It was 1024 and they still had the data.
I'm wondering.
Well, you need to be careful where you go, because it'll be
Yes.
kept in a perfect.
And my wife was watching.
Yes, exactly.
I talked her into getting her license, so.
So yeah, and the other thing about the website, if there's other SSIDs, it'll list them as well. So I just put in W0, oh, I put the wrong call sign, that's why. I'm not putting my call sign in. There we go. 5-1. So you can kind of tell where I was at. There, I put in the club's call sign. I don't radio with the club's call sign back. Don't worry, playing around.
So that's in your car or?
That's in my truck. Yep. I'm in Firestone.
Okay.
Well, Don, you put a lot of effort into this presentation. Thank you very much.
You bet.
Yeah, very good.
For those of you, hopefully you can see it, and we'll put it in front of the camera here in just a second. But he did bring his bike in. So let's do the stop share first. There we go. Any relation?
Oh, the wife is watching.
You get tracked. You're being tracked.
My lovely wife. Yep.
Yeah, it's a good thing he didn't say anything bad about
I
it.
guess not. I guess so.
So if you want, Don, why don't you bring up a little bit closer? Let's focus on the Zoom call. Kind of get a quick post glance there.
Okay.
So this is his bike up close that he was pointing out to for people to see.
So, yeah, so the radio is held in this cradle, like I said, and it sits, let me take it out.
Hey, while you're doing that, I meant to ask you, do you actually use a microphone on this?
I do. Yeah, but I do a radio check. When I get up to Berthoud or just south of Berthoud, I'll do a radio check.
What page?
No, I just usually call the Sky Hotline. Because there's usually somebody listening there.
Okay,
And so I'll call the Sky Hotline and ask for a radio check.
okay.
You gotta talk to them for a while. Make a conversation. So we're not Radio Check Central.
Well, ours is quiet, really quiet. And so,
So the GRMS is like half the day is radio check, radio check, radio check.
yeah, so here's my radio. You can see. And like I said, I've got this plate that's basically it's the same size as half of my phone. And what I did, get it off. So it fits on my battery. There's two holes built into the battery pack for a belt clip. So I just use those two holes and drill and tap this plate. I think they're pretty small, probably 440, something like that. But I realized later, as I said, that gets all the buttons on this side and all the plugins on that side, up above the cradle. So they're accessible. So that just slides in there, and then this clamp just clamps it in, and it's definitely solid. And this foam stops the vibration.
Oh, it's
You don't have to get a sidecar so you can put your HF in the battery.
There you go.
Or actually, one of the child carriers is in fact a strap.
Yeah, get one, yeah.
One of those.
Put my 991 on here.
That's for the local.
Yes, sir.
Oh, no, I was just saying.
So that's that. And then this
So
is,
here on Zoom, I have a question. I'm a lazy guy and I swing my leg over the seat.
you can't
We want a demonstration. How do you get on this thing?
you gotta lay it over to the side.
All right. That makes sense.
The only way to do it.
We'll get the e-bike. And use it.
I thought you'd like jump on the horse, just leap up in the air.
I've tried to do that. So, you gotta go over the middle.
Change the work.
Very nice. Thanks for the presentation. Well done.
Did you all see my vibration damper there?
Oh, yes.
So,
With the correct number of millimeters.
I'm thinking maybe a Cabernet Sauvignon might work better.
That's right.
It's a lot more fun.
Any other questions? Comments? So, well, if nobody's got anything else, I want to thank everybody for attending this evening, as always, except for next month. We meet on the third Wednesday of the month. Come on, join us in person at the Clover Building, or join us online on the Zoom call. Tracy P, Club President, Longmont Control. So welcome to our May presentation. Don's coming in to do his presentation on his mobile bike, which is pretty cool. Those of you who aren't here, you see in the corner of the picture. But a couple of things club related. We're not going to have a club presentation next month because I expect you to be at the field day if you can come out and join us. Or if you can't join us, go check out a field day someplace else. They're a lot of fun. So in lieu of presentation, we're going to do field day. I do have a lot of slots available for help. So if you're available to do some time slots for the field day, that'd be great. Please sign up if you like. Let me know. If you don't want to sign up and just show up, just let me know as well. We're trying to make it a little bit more formal this year in the respect of we have things documented, what we need to do, time frames, things like that. We're going to try to be more coordinated and organized than in past years. Not saying we haven't done a good job. We've done a great job every year. We're just building on it even more every year. Okay. Repeatable process is part of it as well. Because not all of us are going to be here 40, 50 years from now. And I'm hoping my grandkids will be able to do it for us. Our grandkids. Couple other things. We do a presentation in July. I am looking for presentations for the rest of the year. We are talking about maybe trying to do an outdoor presentation in August. I'm thinking about that. So the club event last month was the Satellite Go Box. Thanks to Chuck, WG5X. You guys get a chance to come out to the field day and check it out. He did an excellent job with this box. He's got on show today here. So it's going to be a great addition to the club's assets that the club members can check out and use. Okay? With that said, you can check it out and use it. I'll put something online where you can do that. We also have a DMR Go box. And eventually we're going to have a smaller POTA box that I'm looking to build as well. Couple other items. The club does have a Yaesu FT 5000 for sale. That was acquired from an estate that we will never use. It's 200 watts. So if you're interested in that, great DXing machine is for sale. All proceeds go to the club. And then on a personal note, if you haven't seen the website, I put my Yaesu FT 897 up for sale. So if you're interested in that, let me know as well. I went out and got me a new radio, so the wife told me I gotta go get rid of one. Let's see what else is going on. Hamlet Net on Tuesday nights, please come out. Please also let us know how the repeaters are doing. We want to still keep on it, even though it's not where it's supposed to be. Let us know how it's going. We had to move it back again, so there's some things going on we're working on, and Mark and his team are doing a good job trying to keep repeaters up and going and making them more efficient and function a lot better. Let's see what else. Website or Thursday night. right to net, please come out and join that. If you can sign up to run it, that'd be great. Yes, Bob?
Yeah, it would be great, because I've been doing it for a while. I'll do it tomorrow night, but I'm gonna be gone for a couple of weeks, so if somebody doesn't step up and do it, it won't happen.
Okay. So if you can run the net Thursday night, that'd be great. I'm always looking for people on Tuesday nights, especially the month of June. I have a challenge to everybody, especially for the Hamlet net. Brian's been doing the presentations for probably almost a year and a half straight. I told him I want to take the month off. He can still join the net, but he's not doing presentations. So whoever does net control can do the presentation, or if you want to do a presentation, someone else do net control, you're more than welcome. It's the easiest net you'll ever be part of. Even Doug joins us and he gets it. Like I'm trying to get him to do a presentation maybe too.
I did a presentation
Oh, thank you.
and I didn't even prepare.
Yeah, he was that. It was great.
Seriously, it was
It was fun.
easy and fun. Yeah.
So come join us on Tuesday nights for that. Field day. Check out the website. I'm going to have a poster up there, hopefully today or tomorrow. Hand flyers out. Make a copy of it. Send it to your friends. Send it to your family. Send it to whoever. Let's promote field day. Boulder County Sheriff's Officer was sitting here in the parking lot when I pulled up. She has one of our flyers for field day. I asked her to take it to her boss. She goes, I'm going to give this to the cadets. I said, have them come out. That'd be great. Get it out there. You know, if your job will let you post it out there. I've got several people, hopefully for my job, is going to show up. With that said, I'm still looking for volunteers. I'm going to just pound on that because I need lots of people to help with this. I have a wedding that day, so I'm not going to be there for most of the day on Saturday. So I need people to come out and help to make sure that we keep it running functioning like it's supposed to. And
You get married again?
God, no. It's a friend of my wife's. So I can't say.
You're marrying a friend of your wife's.
Oh, wow. That's good.
Utah.
This is good, yeah.
So I'll be out most of the afternoon. I'll be here in the morning to help us set up, and then I'm leaving. If you have any questions, comments, you need to get a hold of me. Everybody knows how to get a hold of me. Please keep them coming. I apologize now. The website, I'm trying to keep it updated as much as possible. If you have information you want to put out there, please do. We've updated our for sale. We had a couple people sell stuff on there. We're in the process of automating some stuff to the website as well. And also, hopefully after June, I'll have more opportunities to check out club equipment. It'll be more formalized and people can go check it out. We've got 3 radios right now, plus the Go box, which is a radio. But now the satellite box, we have a DMR box. We were going to have at least 1 more, if not 2 more potentially. I'm in the process of trying to get a POTA box put together. It's going to be just like a 991 with a long wire instead of taking the Go box out. I know that thing can be heavy for certain individuals. And then we also talked about potentially, if I can talk N0OM into it, because he's the one who brought it up, I believe, maybe putting a packet radio box together as well. Make these all available to club members. That is part of your membership. You get the opportunity to check those out and use them and get familiar with them. Play with them. Take them out for a week, 2 weeks. As long as the club's not doing an event, check it out. We did get a Kenwood TS 200, 210, I think it's 210, that will be probably putting up at Field Day this year. That was from Silent Key. That was Jerry's old radio he donated to the club when he passed away, his family. So we have that one. That we're going to keep because it's kind of unique. It's actually the Japanese version. We've got a converter for power for it, but it works great. I plugged it in and it works. Field Day, if you want to bring your own radio or antenna, please let us know so we can try to accommodate it. We are going to have, right now, we're looking at being at least a 5A this year. So we're going to have possibly up to 5 radios as of right now. If we go more than that, we might get some interference and other things. We need to try to coordinate that as well. We are going to have an experimental education get on the air station at Field Day this year. Going to do all 3. I'm planning on putting the Go box is going to be there with the 7300 attached to my DX Commander, which is a 6-band vertical, and people loved it over Winter Field Day, so I'm bringing it back to use, but not to keep. We do have the large antenna. A lot of you are familiar with the 40-footer that Garrett Hampton put together. and donate to the club. I need people to help set that up this year because we're gonna document it. Even Gary says, yes, you need to document it because I'm not gonna be around forever, so we need to get a documented videotape and things like that. Right? So you come help with that as well. I was hoping him and Don will be here tonight, but they're not. Trying to think if there's anything else. Like I said, August, I'm gonna try to do something outside maybe, the presentation, but potentially maybe look at the pavilion across the street for the night, or maybe we just use the Clover building with the dirt next to us and bring out lounge chairs and have some kind of presentation. Possibly maybe even on the satellite go box. So we'll have to see how that goes.
Yeah, the parking lot's ours.
Yeah, parking lot's ours, the pavilion is not, so. So look out for that. Also look for events in July. I'm gonna try to put together hopefully a Fox Hunt, if not 2 in July. Or maybe some POTA, but keep an eye out. And if you want to do something for the club as well, let me know. We're happy to let people run it. You know, the more the merrier, I say. Any questions on Zoom call? No? Okay. Also another reminder, I'm gonna bring it up now because it's gonna be coming around the corner. September is elections. It'll be here before we know it. If you'd like to run for position for the board, please let us know. If you'd like to be a committee chair, that's appointed by the board. You're more than welcome to do that as well. Please join us. We do have some open slots available. As of right now, I haven't decided if I'm gonna run again next year. I was persuaded this year to run. I may end up running again next year, but I'm wait and see. But there are opportunities to get on the board and help run the club. Okay, any questions?
You know, we still have those pictures.
I know. That's why I'm debating whether or not I'm gonna drop or not. So I do have a couple of board members here as well. Brian, do you have anything from the committee, education committee here?
No, other than I apparently got volunteered to do some educational stuff at field day. So was also going to mention Chuck does have a sign-up sheet going on the website for the different field day stuff. I know at a lot of the events, like at LARC Fest and stuff, you know, people do show up and help out at the event, but a lot of times they don't sign up for it. And I know that causes a lot of stress to the event organizers like Chuck. So if you are available at any of those times, please sign up on the list as well. I didn't sign up on the list and still got volunteered, so you can't hide that.
I got you lunch. I asked nicely, you can tell me no.
You did. We've got a test session this weekend here in the Clover building starting at 9 a.m. It's a PVET session, so there's no additional fee to test. And then our next test session will be Saturday morning field day.
Okay. Anything else?
And the club, there's a group of guys that get together, there's guys and women, Saturday mornings at the Hidden Cafe here in Longmont. I think it originally was at 8 a.m., but I think they've been getting a little bit earlier, so I've heard you might want to get there around 7:30. But they have breakfast, and it's a pretty good group from what I hear.
Yeah, a lot of fun. I've gone several times, so. Anything else, Brad?
No.
Mark, favorite question?
No, I was trying to look for my internet, it's not working anymore, so Ryan will give you the dates, but just a reminder, we've got AMCOM Colorado in Grand Junction. We're looking for presentations and all that for that. Ryan can give you the dates since he doesn't know all the nets.
I think it's October, I want to say third week in October, starting on that Wednesday, at the 20th or 21st.
And then the DRC was not doing their Infest, so Rocky Mountain Ham stepped up. They figured it's important to have Swap Fest, so it's going to be someday in October. What are they?
HamCon is October 23 to 26. And RM the 1 year only summer Swap Fest is August. I'll have to look that up.
Well, we have this on the calendar on the website as well. So I put all the events on the calendar on the website. So please check it out.
RM it's August 24th.
24th, thank you.
There's also a first annual Cheyenne ham outdoor ham swap meet
Hope it's Cheyenne, yeah.
on the last Saturday of this month. So I think it's the 31st.
I saw that. Well, I don't think Pat's gonna be back yet, if he's still in Arizona. So,
Well, I also saw the NCARC up in Loveland is having an HF in the Park event on May 31st at 1 p.m. They say it's open to new and experienced hams alike. You can expect instruction for new HF operators, demonstration of different HF modes, and hands-on experience with various HF equipment.
usually James puts that on, that's a good presentation, so, or it's his presentation, somebody else puts on.
So I imagine that's open to members and non-members.
Yeah, it's open to everybody. They even let me in. Yeah, Bob? Yeah.
While we're making announcements, hamradioschool.com is putting on a class. I'm facilitating it. It begins, the kickoff is May 31st. Get a hold of me if you have any friends or family or neighbors who want to get their tech license. Where they claim 100% pass rate, so I hope I don't goof that up for them. But
Wait the answers to the test.
Yeah.
so
Right.
Hey, Bob, what's your role in that?
well, the whole class is self-paced, so you do it all home study. But they call me an instructor. I think facilitator makes it better is more accurate. Once a week, we're going to have a Zoom session for Q&A. And so all the people that are working through the self-study class are going to get on Zoom. And if they have any questions, me and a couple friends, we're going to be the Elmers. So that's the level of my involvement. Keep everybody on track.
I asked that because we got a guy in the room who would be interested in that.
Very good.
Yeah, he's just working on his tech.
So we burned through it in about 5 weeks. It does take time. You're going to have to invest some time to do the studying. But I took the course and I found it entertaining, and hopefully you do too. And of course, you're sitting in a room of Elmers, so you're not going to have a problem. So who are you talking about there?
John Mock. Mauch.
And I can give you your information afterwards.
Yeah, you want to give them my email and phone and.
Yep.
Very good.
For you, John.
I'll give you a follow-up call or email.
All right, cool.
Thank you.
Thanks. And of course, we have one more announcement. I don't know if this is out of place or not, but APRS.
Oh, yes. No, it's a club meeting.
Okay. Thank you. Boulder, Broomfield County APRS, BCARES. We need a board member. So either primary or alternate. It's not very taxing. You got to show up for a Zoom session about once a month and try to keep things rolling. You do have to you have to be an APRS member or qualified APRS member, which means that you need to take ICS 100, 200, 700, 800. I can also help you through that as well, or keep you on track there. But we just LARC needs representation on the Amateur Radio Emergency Services crew. So just wanted to throw that out there. Like I said, we do more training than we do responding. I think in the last 10 years, we had the big floods in 2013. We had the Marshall Fire. We had the Left Hand Canyon Fire somewhere around in there.
Yep.
We'll get you. We have cool gadgets. We have ATV on a drone, which the sheriff absolutely loves us because we can fly that thing all over the county and get them like on the left-hand fire. They actually diverted a few helicopters because of the pictures we were showing them. And they said, "Oh, that is bad. We better dump a bucket on that." So just wanted to put in a plug for that. If anybody wants to do some community service there, give me a shout and we'll get you signed up for APRS. So that's it. I'm done.
Thanks, Bob. Bob?
So we made about $3,300 from the LARC Fest. So we're in good financial shape, so we can afford you guys to play with the repeater.
They might be getting a duplexer yet?
Did you take care of the duplexer?
No, I haven't been for that yet.
Okay, well, let's give it a check for that, Alex, so.
Yeah, let's talk about that in November.
Okay.
It really doesn't matter to people.
Well, the loaner is probably gonna be, yeah, we got the loaners and things.
Yeah, I just dropped the ball on that.
Anything else, Rob? Nope. Steve, Director,
I'm Steve, I'm the, I'm gonna tell you what he calls me. Anyways, I'm board member at large, and, just two things. First of all, with reference to the, the other day, I'm gonna be the safety officer, or begin with that. I think safe. Get my points for it. But one thing I do want to emphasize is what Chuck said is if you are looking at bringing your own radio or antenna, please let us know. Let Chuck know, and that way we can plan around it. Rather than trying to do it ad hoc. So I didn't realize we can plan it out ahead of time. The other thing I want to bring up is we have re-engaged with the city of Longmont to provide services for the parades. And there are a lot of events that I'm going to be doing this year. I'll be sending out an email probably in the next week and making flyers up and handles at a field day also. But definitely we'll be looking for volunteers. All you need is a handheld and the ability to stand or sit. That's all it takes. So I'm happy to talk to anybody who's interested in volunteering because it is really public service that we're providing.